Don't let these mistakes ruin your trip to the Grand Canyon.
We're Matt and Cheryl, and we visited the Grand Canyon several times.
From missing must-see stops to making some big mistakes on hikes, we've got you covered.
So let's dive in here to the biggest mistakes. And the first one is thinking that visiting the Grand Canyon is all about just the view. Now, don't get me wrong, when you visit the Grand Canyon, you're going to have several opportunities and viewpoints to look into the Grand Canyon. And it is just a giant hole in the ground that is one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. And that's really cool. But I'm kind of reminded of the movie National Lampoon's Vacation, where Chevy Chase gets there and they look at it for about 10 seconds and, okay, time to go, honey. And really, there's a lot more to do at the Grand Canyon than just look at the canyon.
Yeah, in fact, we like to spend 2 or 3 days there because there's so many activities. Some of our favorite things to do is we love to bike along the rim. We think that is fantastic. We like to ride the mules. We like to do that stereotypical tourist thing. We think it's great. We also love just swinging by Williams, Arizona. That's an old Route 66 town. They've got fun little diners and memorabilia. There's just a ton to do there.
Yeah, and then the last time we were there, we did the Grand Canyon Railway Experience. This is a train ride that goes from Williams, Arizona to the Grand Canyon, a recreation of kind of the original way that people arrived at the Grand Canyon, kind of a nostalgic thing. And it's an all-day experience where it's a couple of hour ride to get to the Grand Canyon. They give you a few hours there to check out the views and the Grand Canyon Village. And then you hop back on the train and head back to Williams. They provide entertainment, and it's a pretty fun experience.
Yes. Next up is thinking that the South Rim is the only part of the Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon is huge. It's over 1,000 miles to drive around the entire thing, and it's actually kind of divided into 4 sections. What most of us think of when we think of the Grand Canyon is the South Rim. That's the one that's about 4 hours away from Vegas. It has the cool village. It has some of the most iconic views there, and the activities we were just talking about, those were at the South Rim. But there's actually 3 other areas.
Okay, so first is the Grand Canyon West area. Now this is like Las Vegas and the Hoover Dam and Lake Mead. There's a lot of recreation around there, but there's actually also like a location called Grand Canyon West that has the sky bridge to it. And then there's Page, Arizona, which is kind of considered Grand Canyon East, and it's famous for Antelope Canyon and Lake Powell and a few other things. And then there's the Grand Canyon North Rim, which is 4 hours away from the South Rim by driving. You have to drive clear around the Grand Canyon to get there. But the South Rim and the North Rim are the national park, and the other 2 areas, the East and the West, are not national park, but they're still part of the Grand Canyon.
And we thought that this was so tricky to figure out that we actually created a free printable PDF for you. You can download it right now. It's in our description that describes each of these areas, what there is to do there, kind of what services are available, like where to stay, where to eat, and what the activities are in that area. Maybe this will help you kind of narrow down where you want to visit.
Yep. Okay, next up is not understanding the climates and the weather. Okay, so again, the Grand Canyon is so huge that those 4 different areas, they all have their own climate and temperatures and kind of best times to visit. So let's talk about each of those a little bit.
All right, so like Matt mentioned, Las Vegas in the West, this area gets caliente hot. I mean, we were here one time when it was 117 degrees outside and the hot tub was cooler than the air was. It was unbelievable. So that's like the Grand Canyon West, Las Vegas area. The South Rim actually does get a little bit of snow. It has a winter, but it is open all year round and you can visit all year round.
And then strange thing, over on the east side, Page, Arizona, it's a little bit more like Las Vegas where it's boiling hot. Those 2 are really, really hot. South Rim is kind of mild. The North Rim, surprisingly, is actually cold in relative to the other ones. So it gets so much snow. It actually gets as much snow as Yellowstone does, believe it or not. And so that actually closes during the winter from October to May.
It's only open 5 months of the year. Like.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, during the summer, it's actually very lovely weather there.
Yes.
But chilly at night and all that. So just completely different climate. Okay, next mistake is expecting good food when you visit the Grand Canyon. So the national park areas of the Grand Canyon, the South Rim and the North Rim, are like other national parks. They're run by a monopoly, at least the concessions are. So they don't really have a lot of incentive to provide good food. But there are some other areas that you can go that you'll find good food.
Our favorite place to eat when we visit the Grand Canyon is Page, Arizona. There is just a lot of variety of restaurants. So the first one is The Bird. It has this great big chicken out front, and they serve these really yummy crispy chicken fingers and fries, and they serve it family style. So it comes out in the sheet pan, and our favorite thing about it is we love the dipping sauce. That is really good.
Kids love The Bird.
Yes.
Yep.
And then last time we were visiting, we went to the world's largest floating restaurant. So this is a restaurant that kind of floats on at the marina at Lake Powell. It was kind of fun. We got to take the golf carts down there because it changes based on the water level, if you can walk to it or if you need a ride. It just depends on the year. And we loved the tots and the corn chowder. But what we really liked was the views of the lake. We thought it was really fun to be right on the lake shore and just have that red rock in the water and just a fun atmosphere.
Ooh, we also had a yummy bowl at El Tapatio Mexican restaurant there. I mean, that thing was wild and delicious.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also ate at Big John's Texas Barbecue, where you eat outside. They'll provide some entertainment, and the barbecue was super yummy. And so Page has a lot of good options. That's the place you want to cash in, or at least save your dollars up to eat when you go to Page. Don't waste them at the South Rim. One final tip is to get a treat. Over at the North Rim is Jacob Lake Inn. This is like one of the few places at the North Rim. The North Rim's so remote, but they serve these famous shakes and cookies that we got once with our kids and had a really good time there.
Our next mistake is overestimating your hiking skills. Something unique about hiking at the Grand Canyon is you start at top on the rim and then you hike down. And so a lot of times you can feel really overly ambitious and you feel great, and then it's time to turn around and then you are sucking wind on the way up.
So it's rough.
It is really rough. And I say that most of the time hikers are happy people. Like if you're on the trail, you wave hi to them, they smile and they wave back. But Grand Canyon is not where you see happy hikers. If you're walking down and they're walking up, it's like they want to flip you the bird. Because they are not happy hiking up that, and it's exposed, it's hot. And so we do like to hike in the Grand Canyon, but just know, like, you really need to know your limitations because it is a butt kicker climbing out.
Yeah, general rule of thumb is not to go down more than 1.5 miles unless you're super confident in your hiking ability, because then you're going to have to come up 1.5 miles. I remember one of the earliest times we went there, I was like, hey, I bet you we could just like hike down to the Grand Canyon and come back up, you know, because it's 1 mile deep. So you think, okay, I bet we could go down there. Well, no, I mean, because of the switchbacks and the length, it's more like, I think 7 miles down or something like that. And then I started looking it up, and this is an all-day event. People actually do this. They go hiking all the way down to the Colorado River, and then they come back up. But it's like a 17-hour event. They start at 4 in the morning. They get back up late in the day. I mean, it's a commitment and a little goal that we can set for ourselves. But I gotta get in shape to do that. And
yes,
it's a workout.
In fact, there's signage all over the park telling the regular Joes like us not to attempt it. That's for my ultra marathoner brother to do, not for us.
Yep.
Okay, so we have got plenty of resources for you for planning your trip to the Grand Canyon on our website, we'reintherockies.com, including our Grand Canyon itinerary. We also have lots of YouTube videos for you to watch.
Okay, up next is skipping Page, Arizona. So we mentioned this is one of the 4 areas of the Grand Canyon. We mentioned it has good food. What's interesting is the North and the South Rim, as I mentioned, are 4 hours apart by car. So you have to drive around the entire Grand Canyon to get from one rim to the other. Page is in the middle of that. So Page is about 2 hours away from either the North or the South Rim. So even if you're only visiting the North or the South Rim, Page is within a decent shot for you to go visit. And I would highly encourage you to do it because it's a different experience. So the North and the South Rim, you're looking down into the canyon, but Page has other kind of adventures that you can do.
Yes, so the first one is Horseshoe Bend, which is you're looking at a bend of the river and you're up high and it's just a beautiful view. There is a wonderful hike, Buckskin Gulch, that you get to hike through Slot Canyon. Or if you're not a big hiker, there's the Antelope Canyons, which I know you've seen before because they're like on everybody's screenshots. Just very, you can see the little rays of light coming through with the wavy red rocks. It's just beautiful. Page is a great place to visit. Yeah,
a lot of things to do there, and we've experienced quite a bit. The last time we went there, we did the Rainbow Bridge experience. So Rainbow Bridge is a national monument. It means it's a national park site, but it's super remote in a very difficult area to get to. The only way you can get to it is by hiking about 14 hours or something like that, 14 miles. And then the other way is to take a boat ride across Lake Powell to get there. So there's a concessionaire that will take you across the lake to Rainbow Bridge, and we did this last time, and the tour guide was great, and the views were amazing gliding across Lake Powell, and they get better the farther you go into the lake. And then they dropped us off, and we did about a 1-mile hike to get to Rainbow Bridge, this massive arch. It's like much larger than the more famous Delicate Arch, a really beautiful bridge, and we got to check off another national park site off of our list.
Okay, the next mistake is thinking that there's only one Antelope Canyon. As we mentioned earlier, this place is super famous, but it's funny that there's actually 6 different slot canyons that they all call Antelope Canyon.
So what you're paying for here is easy access to beautiful slot canyons. So slot canyons are common all around the Southwest, especially southern Utah and in this Grand Canyon country. So slot canyon is where the water has carved just really sharp and narrow walls down through the easy to carve red rock. A lot of them you have to drive into remote areas and do these hikes and stuff. Antelope is just easy, but you do have to pay money to the Navajo National Park, like the Navajo tour guides. All these are only accessible via a tour guide, so there's just kind of some trade-offs there.
Yes, and so we've actually been to 3 of these, 3 of the 6, and I wanted to just tell you a little bit about our experience, because when we went the first time, we knocked out Upper and Lower Canyon on like just one day. It was on Labor Day, so it was really crowded, and these canyons are not long, like a football field in length at best. And we kind of felt like we were getting herded through like cattle. The canyons were very beautiful, but just the experience wasn't great. It was just walk 10 feet, take a picture, walk 10 feet, take a picture. And there were so many people in there. It just was kind of overwhelming. This last year we went back and we tried a different tour. We tried Antelope X, and they limit their tour groups, so they're a lot smaller. And that was a completely different experience because we weren't getting shuffled through the canyon. So I think the takeaway is, if you're going during a busy time, realize what that experience is going to be like, and really kind of look around and see which tour is going to be the best for you, like what you're really wanting. I didn't think that our tour on the Antelope X was as beautiful, but I would happily trade that because it was a better experience. And we wrote a whole blog post of comparing all the Antelope Canyons on our website. We'll link it below too, so you can maybe pick the best one that's right for you.
Okay, our next mistake is paying $25 for the photo on the Grand Canyon Skywalk. Yes, we made this mistake because this is what we try to do. We try to go out and make all the mistakes for you. Now, the Grand Canyon Skywalk is one of the more famous features or like tourist attractions in the entire Grand Canyon. This is located in Grand Canyon West. What it is it's run by the Wallapai tribe. And so you actually pay an entry fee to get into Grand Canyon West. Grand Canyon Skywalk is another fee on top of that. And the Skywalk is this glass bridge that goes out over the canyon, and you're looking straight down to the bottom of the Grand Canyon.
When you arrive, they get you on the shuttle and they take you out to a few different viewpoints, and the Sky Bridge is one of them. And it was kind of funny because we're like, well, we absolutely have to do the Sky Bridge. And it was really cool. But it is quite the process to go do the Sky Bridge. You have to put little booties on, and they have a lot of restrictions on what you can actually take on the Sky Bridge. You have to put a lot of your things in your locker. Your phone, your keys, your camera. Like, people on wheelchairs can't go on it because I guess the wheels scuff up the glass. And this line can be really long. We were there in the middle of April and we got to walk right on. It was amazing.
Perfect.
But the security guard told us that it over Christmas break or weekends in the summer, it can be 3 hours long to go onto that Sky Bridge. It's just unbelievable. And then you get out there and you want your picture, but you can't take your picture because no cameras are allowed.
Always an employee there close by to take your picture if you want to. So of course we had to do it. And they took our picture and then they email it to you. So again, it's $25 for the picture. They send you the photo by email. They don't print it for you.
And what was your big disappointment, Matt?
That you really don't even see the bridge in the photo or like looking down at all. You do see a beautiful shot of the Grand Canyon behind you, but it almost looks like any other viewpoint of the Grand Canyon. It's a pretty fun and really well organized place. The Grand Canyon West is, but it does cost a lot more money than the other places.
Yes, but if you're going to be at Grand Canyon West, you don't want to spend the money for the Sky Bridge or the time. Guano Point is our favorite viewpoint there.
Yep, beautiful spot.
Our next mistake is watching a sunrise. Okay, and the reason why we say this is a mistake, well, we actually don't think it's a mistake, but you need to know what you're getting yourself into. Okay, the sun rises early at the Grand Canyon. I mean, it rises at 5:30.
And so we've actually done this twice. So the first time we did this, we hiked out to a remote viewpoint on the South Rim, and had it all to ourselves. But you know, we had to get up at like 4:30 in the morning to go to the viewpoint and hike out there. It was gorgeous and it was very peaceful, and it's really interesting in the morning just kind of like almost hear the sounds and the feel of the Grand Canyon. It's really interesting. And but then this last time, I was like, there's no way I'm getting up early to watch the sunrise again. But then because of the time change, we were staying at the Bright Angel Cabins, which is right next to the rim pretty much. And I just woke up at like 5:20 and I was like, okay, well, I guess I better just walk 10 feet out of my cabin to go see the sunrise. And I did, and it was really, really pretty. So anywhere you watch the sunrise in the Grand Canyon is going to be pretty and it's going to be memorable. You just have to get up really early to do it.
Yes, and our take is we'd rather watch a sunset because the sun sets around 7:30. That is, everyone's up and out at 7:30 p.m. And it's not really picky about where you have to go to watch a sunset. We love to just walk along the rim trail as the sun's setting because you can see the sun setting and the afterglow on the canyon walls. It's so pretty.
Now, if you are planning a trip to the Grand Canyon, you can check out our itinerary on our website at we'reintherockies.com, or you can watch this video next, which is a trip planner that will take you all through how to visit the Grand Canyon. Thanks for watching.